preface this by saying that some experts in this field do not believe that there can be a non-pathological addiction, and therefore they do not agree to use this expression. I do not agree with this opinion and therefore I try to argue my thesis. But let's go in order. We can define addiction as the relationship with a substance, a behavior, a situation, or a person that a subject constantly seeks to ward off a feeling of physical or emotional imbalance. Naturally, we are also dependent on oxygen, water, and food to avoid death, thirst, and hunger. According to some, we could define pathological addiction when we develop a need for something that by our nature should not be necessary for survival. But legitimately, we do not want to survive only, but to live a full life, so we also feed on other things, primarily interpersonal relationships. Feeling, for example, in a state of imbalance due to loneliness is not a pathological symptom, but is an expression of our human nature that does not only provide for needs related to survival, but makes us aspire to quality emotions. These emotions are accompanied by the production of various chemicals in our brain that we can modulate with our thoughts, experiences, and also with the substances we put into our body. I refer you to the 3 videos on the importance of the brain for an easy introduction to these topics. For this reason, the search for these emotions has nothing pathological in itself. Being in love with a person or a project generates a storm of emotions accompanied by a corresponding production of molecules in our brain, which becomes accustomed to this feeling of well-being to the point of strongly seeking them. Think of a person in love who constantly thinks about their partner, or a music or sports enthusiast who is always looking for something that can keep their passion alive. There is nothing pathological in all this. Having an exciting and all-encompassing experience, having enthusiasm and passion is something that gives quality to our lives. We realize, however, that this situation captures our mind, our thoughts, and our attention, and this sometimes comes at the expense of our responsibilities. Think of the student in love who starts neglecting their studies, for example. If they cannot see or talk to their loved one, they feel a strong sense of discomfort and malaise. So far, we would say nothing pathological, but if that student were to be failed because instead of reading school books they write love poems to their beloved, we would start to worry. Society allows us to let ourselves be carried away by our passions only on condition that our responsibilities are not neglected. But even in this case, we cannot yet speak of pathology. The situation is different when a person is ill because they feel the lack of something they need, even though it compromises their overall quality of life, and even if they realize it, they are still unable to abandon the object of their need. Think of the emotional addiction of a person who cannot detach themselves from their partner despite being constantly abused or exploited. Or a gambler who is losing all their savings at the game, but cannot keep away from the casino. In these cases, as in the case of drug addiction, the brain has changed, a part of it has taken over and forces it to seek the source of its problems. That emotional and chemical cascade that in a first phase gave him enormous pleasurable sensations, think of the gambler who started playing after a big win, for example, has changed his brain, which forces him strongly to continue to seek the situation that has nourished him emotionally in such a significant way at first. The negative experiences that follow this behavior, the thoughts about how stupid and wrong it is to continue, cannot compete with the desperate search for the positive emotions of the first hour. We could say that pathological addiction occurs when our brain forces us to seek a substance, behavior, or situation to find momentary relief from a feeling of need or discomfort, despite the certainty that this will generate negative consequences in our lives. In addition to this awareness, there will be the knowledge that this situation of need will never find a definitive fulfillment, but the need will reappear. Another aspect of pathological addiction is the unwillingness to seek other ways to achieve the same feeling of well-being by following other paths. Let's think about sugar addiction, for example. This substance generates pleasant sensations in the brain that could be obtained by following other paths, but this would require a change in lifestyle that people are usually not willing to undertake. When there is a pathological addiction, we act according to the all-at-once scheme. Our brain no longer appears to be willing to wait, and in order to achieve its goal, it is also able to modify our reasoning to the advantage of achieving its objective, to perpetuate that behavior. In many years of working with addicted people, I have heard really everything. Women who are abused tell me, "He will change, he is basically good." Gamblers tell me that I found the method to win at roulette. Adolescents tell me that they can study better with cannabis. Alcoholics tell me that they can stop whenever they want. And they are not lying to me, they really believe it. Their addiction changes their thoughts in such a way as to avoid the discomfort of an internal conflict, and they convince themselves of what they say, losing all form of lucidity. In conclusion, addiction is pathological when the object of addiction, substance, situation, behavior, or relationship, worsens the quality of life of the subject, but he does not want or cannot give it up. This occurs due to profound changes in the brain that require specialist professional help. I hope I have clarified this topic in an exhaustive way. Share this video with people who are interested and leave me a comment or question. I will be happy to answer you. Bye and see you soon.